let's freaking move on.
Yeah, no, let's stay on the draft before we move on.
Oh, yeah,
You
sorry.
got to watch Acuff, watch it a little bit. I have a player that I think he plays like, but I want to hear yours first.
So it's funny. I love that he's getting Anthony Edwards right now because they shoot the basketball similar, and the conversation ends there. There's no similarities in their game, right? He's a true point guard. I mean, they're both great players, but they do have a very similar shot. And I've always said Ant-Man, I think, has one of the prettiest releases in the game right now. But like that, they shoot similar, and like some people who just see that are like, wow, like I don't want to say who this reminds me of, Anthony Edwards, but I don't know, man. I think I truly haven't watched him enough to have like a super valid opinion. I think he's an unbelievable scorer. Just watching him in the SEC tournament, bro, like he has a great shot. He gets to the rim, and he can pass, but is his defense really as bad as people are making it out to be? Because, again, I haven't watched enough tape of him to have a super valid opinion. But that people are saying that's why he, they don't see him as like a top 3 pick. They see him more in like the, I was going to say the 6 range or like the number after 6,
That sounds about right. I think Darius Acuff is the next Stephon Marbury. The posture,
I love it.
The
That's
demeanor,
the
first step, the ability to shoot with athleticism, the elevation he gets on his jump shot.
Yeah.
And then also he plays like a pure point guard like Steph, but could also score the basketball. And he's another great college basketball player who's a one and done like Stephon Marbury. So I really see a lot of similarities with Darius Acuff and Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, that's a great take. I think, I don't know, that's like, people don't realize how good Marbury was at
20
like
and
the peak
8
of his
when
powers.
20 and 8 was harder to get. Every single year. And on top of that, he has a museum in China. I mean,
exactly. That's
he
what I
was so great internationally.
And the Starbury, the shoes, they were cheap.
He's underrated. Yeah, that's right. $8.
Exactly, dude. He was doing it for the kids, bro. He's a legend. But yeah, what was I going to say?
Acuff. But 6 sounds about right. I don't think he should be the number 1 pick or top 3.
Well, I mean, in this draft, it's hard to. I feel like the top 3 are pretty like solidified right now.
Well, no, but there is some buzz. Like Coach Miller said that he should be in consideration for the number 1 pick, and he's the greatest point guard to ever.
Well, he seems to just be
one of the greatest point
praise,
guards,
dude. And then they asked him like last night. They're like, "How do you defend AJ?" And he's like, "I don't know, dude." Did you see that interview? They're like, "How do you stay?" He's got 18 at the half. How do you stop him? He's like, dude, why are you asking? I have no idea how to stop this guy.
The thing about Acuff is he is having a better college basketball season than an SGA, than a Fox.
Well, that's a fun
than even a D Rose.
No, I don't know. D Rose was number 1 over Michael Beasley.
Look at the stats though, and the shooting percentage and all that.
Yeah, but that would go back to how much the game has changed, right? But
right.
I saw that people saying, "Is this the best Calipari guard?" And like, obviously, I don't know how he projects as a pro when you have a guy who named SGA who's like the MVP. Like,
but nobody thought SGA would be SGA. That's the crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So like, as a college prospect or as a college player, like he definitely has a seat at the table. And then whenever you look at those Calipari guards, dude, it's unbelievable. Before you even get to Rose at Memphis, like you just reel off the SGA, Fox. Jamal Murray, Malik Monk was a problem. You remember Malik Monk in college? Dude? What an absolute
He's actually underrated in the NBA. Like he could
help,
help,
dude. He could help 18 on any given night.
Yeah, he could help a contender off the bench.
100%. I've wanted him in. He was on the Lakers for a year or 2, right?
Yeah.
He didn't really do anything though. What team is Malik?
He probably played with like Bi and Lonzo, right? Malik Monk.
No, him and LeBron definitely crossed paths.
Okay, but LeBron played with Kuzma and all them.
Yeah, for a season. Well, Kuzma hung around for a minute.
Yo, LeBron been on the Lakers for a while now.
This is year 8 or 9, dude.
He had a whole career on the Lakers. Like
this has been the longest consecutive run on one team.
It, right?
Not at all.
It was COVID. It was like broke everything up.
Exactly.
And made it feel weird.
He went there to make movies, which he did. Space Jam 2 Oscar nominee, but and then he also won. But they said he wasn't.
30-year anniversary of Space Jam coming up. The real Space Jam.
I never saw it.
You never saw Space Jam?
I saw Space Jam 2, but
you never saw Space Jam 1?
No. I don't really do that stuff. No.
I did do what stuff?
Well,
watch a great movie, a great theatrical release?
I tried to watch. I mean,
what's the greatest basketball movie ever?
Ooh, Coach Carter. Coach Carter is a great movie.
Better than White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah, Coach Carter is way better, dude. Coach. Dude.
Wait, Coach Carter is better than He Got Game?
I don't think I have seen He Got Game. What's He Got Game?
Blasphemy.
Oh, is that that's Ray Allen? Okay,
Denzel.
Jesus Shuttlesworth. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, haven't seen it, but Space Jam 2 is the best sports movie of all time. It won an Oscar, and we're sitting here like we're talking about. I mean, that was talk about it.
You're not serious about Space Jam 2, right? It wasn't good. Space Jam 2 wasn't good. It wasn't
what
good.
What do you mean it wasn't good?
It just wasn't good. It wasn't watchable, bro.
Well, you're not a movie guy. Like, this is a different, right? We got a sports guy. We got a movie guy here. So, like, you know, I
Tell me
don't
why
expect
Space Jam is the greatest sports movie ever.
The cinematography, the storyline. You had, you know, a guy like LeBron who clearly, you know, methoded it out. You know, he had his, sorry, you get choked up, but just meant a lot to me, dude. Space Jam 2 is an unbelievable movie. As I'm saying, I kind of forgot fucking the premise of the movie. I was trying to go into it. I don't remember it at all.
It's that bad he couldn't remember it.
It was a great movie, dude. He took over. It was very bizarre. Remember, he had like the storyline with his kid. You're like, is this Bronny, dude? Who like? Say
that again. I want to hear that.
There was like a storyline in the movie with his kid, and you're like, is this? It was like a kid the same age as Bronny. You're like, is this supposed to be Bronny? What's happening?
Did it take place in the metaverse?
I don't even. Did it take place in the metaverse, dude? I'm literally doing like the guy on podcast like mannerisms. I've never been in what I gotta freaking adjust my.
No, it's all good. Tight. The greatest rivalry in the history of sports,
dude. That's an interesting. Because that was another that I got clipped into oblivion. Because I don't know anything about soccer, so I was talking about the Premier League was like the early
sports,
90s.
So we could talk anything, yeah.
No, but so I was like, dude, these rivalries haven't been around. Apparently, the soccer rivalries have been around for hundreds of years, right? So I looked like an idiot saying that. The NFL doesn't have great rivalry. That's another tough thing about that show. They just kind of throw a premise at you, and you're like, all right, let's roll. Like, I don't think the NFL has too great of rivalries. I think when you look at college football, when I think of sports rivalries, I think Ohio State, Michigan. I think, you know, Army Navy's a little different, but I think in Auburn, Alabama. But I think Ohio State, Michigan has to be number one. I think when you think rivalry, you think pure actual hatred. And I think that's tough in a sport, not football, where you're not hitting someone. I know that sounds a little bit bizarre, but it's funny to be like, oh, we have a big rivalry, Duke, North Carolina, like, let's go, you know, shoot a ball into a hole and like see what happens. It's like, that's not pure hatred, right? I think when you're looking at the biggest sports rivalry, I think it's Ohio State, Michigan kind of comfortably. I don't know what you would say, but.
So let me cook for a second.
Yeah, cook.
Because I don't think
there's a first for everything. Yeah. Nice.
I don't think the greatest rivalry is between two teams or between two players.
It's going to get weird, dude. What does that mean, dude? It's weird. This is where you're going to cut it. You're going to be like, the greatest rivalry is actually not by teams. It's like, all right,
wait,
for
let
sure.
me cook, bro. The greatest rivalry in the history of sports is with two companies. So I'll put it in UFC terms for you.
Yeah.
Believe Bellator and UFC went head to head every single Monday night for years and years and years.
Uh-huh.
And on top of that, Bellator stole some of UFC's top talent. And they took shots at each other every single Monday for years and years and years. Yeah. And then one day, Dana White shows up at Bellator and says, this is mine.
Yeah.
I take over Bellator.
Yeah.
And now we're all under one umbrella.
Uh-huh.
That was the Monday Night Wars. That was WCW versus WWE. And that is the greatest rivalry in the history of sports.
So very interesting. Sports rivalry or just rivalry in general? Because you could talk about like, I don't know, I don't know where I was going with that, but I mean, it's not a sport. It's people. I'm fine with it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go with that.
What?
You don't think it's real? Like, you could go with that.
Well, it isn't real. So I say, you know, that's a very elementary take, right? To come in and say, well, it's not real. It's like, well, you know, I compare it more to like a TV show, right? Because when someone says it's not real, so you shouldn't like it.
But there's just too much athleticism involved and strength.
Well, have you ever
prowess.
seen? We were just talking about Coach Carter. I mean, you could make a movie about sports and competition. I'm trying to help you here because you're just like walked into no man's land. I defend the WWE. Well, don't like it personally. But I don't think it's a fair take to sit here and say like, oh, it's fake. It's like, well, TV is fake. You watch TV. Movies are fake. You watch movies. Not you. You didn't like Space Jam 2. You don't know what you're talking about. But I think that's
I can't
not
believe that's a real take. I can't wait to clip that. The Space Jam 2 is the greatest sports movie of all time. But go ahead. Keep going.
It is. I mean, I'm not. That's not my opinion. It just in a literal sense is. But,
okay.
So I don't think that's a fair thing to say. So I'm not going to say I hate it because it's fake. I hate it because it's stupid. It's not because it's fake. It's because it's stupid. And it's also not a sport. So you're saying it's the greatest rivalry of all time. I didn't even hear of the other. You said the WBC, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. So that's the greatest rivalry of all time. Good. Clip that up, dude, for sure. What does that even mean? Well, and then Vince McMahon came in and you realize it was scripted. That's like saying,
No, that wasn't. That was really two companies going at each other. That part wasn't scripted, bro.
But then, I'm assuming that's Vince McMahon. Vince
McMahon beat out Ted Turner in the ratings wars inevitably, and then Vince McMahon took over WCW literally. Like that really happened.
Okay, but that's not. It's not a sport though.
It's in sports. It's in sports entertainment.
Sport, but the entertainment word carries a lot of weight in that sentence.
It is sport.
It's not a sport, dude.
Yeah.
What's the great at you're like, oh, The Rock versus John Cena? Like that's not a great rivalry. I think that'd be like comparing Walter White and Tony Soprano, dude.
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, great rivalry. There's a bunch of great rivalries.
That'd be like comparing Ralphie Cifaretto versus Richie Aprile. You don't even understand that reference, dude. All right. Sorry, I just don't understand how anyone could take when John Cena retired recently. People are upset about that. It's like, dude, what are we talking about, bro? Or I get being upset about the concept of it, but seeing him lose on his I don't know. I actually love that he lost because usually in made up stories, which it is, the protagonist, which he is, you give him out, he wins his final match. I like that he lost because he's a loser, and if you like him, you're a loser.
Would you redo?
I don't know where I went into that, huh?
Would you redo the Mikal Bridges trade?
Mikal Bridges is a friend, a former coworker. We stepped into the octagon together. We traded takes once, but honestly, I feel like basketball. I never have a problem giving away first round picks, right? You draft a guy late in the first, you hope he turns into a sixth man or a decent role player, right? So I don't ever have a problem trading away picks, but they traded so many for him. Was it 4 or 5 first round picks? It was an odd trade to begin with, and it was odd because it seemed like they were doing this, this Villanova thing. That was the first thing. You were like, oh, the gang's reunited, right? And I don't know if you make your stars happy, maybe that checks that. Mikal Bridges was so good his first year in Brooklyn. He averaged about 26 a game.
That's what we thought we were getting with the Knicks, Brooklyn Bridges.
Yeah. So my only thing with Bridges is he gets a lot of love for Johnny Hustle, right? He plays every game. He plays, with Tibbs. He's playing.
But it feels like he avoids contact to do that.
See, I don't like ripping on.
Well, he doesn't.
He needs to give more on the offensive end. That's what I'm trying to say.
He gets into his Durant bag where he gets to the rim, but then fades for
as in Kevin Durant?
Well, Kevin Durant is different because he's the most efficient to do it, right? But he gets into the mid-range and the short range and then relies on a
and then the ball doesn't
fade.
Go in the basket.
Instead of sometimes you have the option to just go score and you get into a fade for no reason. But I would say I would redo the trade because they are contenders right now, and I do think he brings a lot of value to the Knicks for the Nova reason. I think he's more valuable to the Knicks than a lot of other franchises because of the Nova reason, but Jalen Brunson is not making these guys better. That's the biggest issue. He's not making Cat better. He's not making Mikal better. And he proved we saw that last year when Brunson didn't play. Mikal Bridges went on a heater. He had that game winner.
Dude,
he was averaging way more points.
I remember that actually.
But when you're the floor general, your job is to make everybody around you.
General, he should be.
That's what I'm saying, though. Your job is to make everybody around you better, especially a guy you played in college with and you know so well. Josh Hart is the guy making everybody better, even more than Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, but I think Well, you said a similar thing I remember about Steph Curry, right? I feel like when you're not a true point guard, when you're not a true floor general, you're
But
kind
that
of just
wasn't
a dominant
Steph's
ball
job
carrier.
the way it is that it's Brunson's job, right? Because he had Draymond.
Who's saying that it's his? Oh, because of Draymond. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that makes
I mean,
sense.
Josh Hart is kind of like their Draymond a little bit, but he's just not as good as Draymond.
Yeah. You're
You know
spot
what I mean?
on, right? I
It's
love
about meshing
Brunson.
skill sets
I'm a
and
big fan
tendencies.
of his.
Jalen Brunson is their point guard. He is, you know?
He definitely is, but yeah, they all kind of don't mesh together. They all kind of do their own thing. But I will say, back to Bridges, if he was the version of himself that first year in Brooklyn, right? How fun that team was after the KD trade. Obviously, he wouldn't be averaging, 25, 26 in their offense, but like he's just not super efficient, right? I feel like he misses a lot of shots in big moments, and like I remember watching him in the playoffs and he's getting all this love for diving for loose balls, for playing great defense, and that's fantastic. But aren't they paying him like $35 million a year or something? Like you don't get to be like you don't get to score 13 and hustle and play 45 minutes, and that's like a pat on your back, right? So I don't know about redoing the trade. I think they're fine with where they're at, right? Who would these 4 or 5 first round picks have turned into? But,
well, they did. They turned into some Nets players, and I just want to talk about the Nets for 1 second, even though nobody wants to talk.
Yeah, that's 1 second too much, dude. What are you talking
No, you got to build around Igor Demon. Give him the ball. He showed in BYU that he can make every pass in the book. His weakness, his improvement area was shooting. Now you need to give him the keys. Let him play point guard, 6'9" point guard. He's the future of Brooklyn. For all the analysts saying that he can't play make.
What is that? Sorry.
No, for all the analysts saying that he can't play make like we thought he could, the reason is he doesn't have the keys. They're not giving him the basketball. And he's showing that he could shoot at an MVP level, which was shoot at an NBA level, right? But they're not allowing him to be the playmaker that he is. So I think they should build around Igor Demon and give him the basketball, man. Give him the basketball.
I have not watched a Brooklyn Nets game in years, so I'm not even going to comment. He should get the basketball, 100%, give him the keys, but that's all I could say on that, dude. I haven't watched any Nets.
Who's the greatest quarterback ever?
Oh, I mean, that's not much of a conversation. It's Tom Brady, but I will say Tom Brady.
Not Dan Marino?
Oh, my God. I'm not going to entertain that, but Tom Brady is kind of.
But Tom Brady benefited from the system.
No,
Dan Marino didn't have a system.
So I thought that, right? And then 2019 happened. He went to a different team that didn't make the playoffs the year before, and then they won a Super Bowl.
He's not a better thrower of the football than Dan Marino.
Well, he probably is, actually. I think you mean Aaron Rodgers, right? That could be an interesting debate. But, there's no one you would rather take over Tom Brady. I for so long, actually said that, right? I said Aaron Rodgers is a better pure thrower of the football, which is a pretty big responsibility for a quarterback, right? That's pretty high up in your job description.
Dan Marino was the best.
No, he wasn't, dude. Aaron
Rodgers. Who had a quicker release than Dan Marino?
Well, quick release is not. Well, I think Mahomes is a better pure thrower than Dan
Well,
Marino.
Mahomes is the most talented quarterback ever.
Yeah, but dude, it all goes through Tom Brady. Like, it's impossible to not just give the nod to Brady. I used to say the Rodgers stuff. I also hated Brady forever, so like I tried to come up with fake narratives against him. But you had to bend the knee after what he did in Tampa Bay. Dude, the guy led the NFL, the National Football League, in passing touchdowns and yards at 43 years of age. That's never happened before. It'll never come close to happening again. Rodgers, we give him his flowers for playing at like a competent level at 41. Dude, Tom Brady was leading he threw 43 touchdowns at 43 years of age. Like, we've never seen anything like it. But what is he doing why is he beefing with Logan Paul? I find now, maybe it's like late stage capitalism or whatever you want to say, but like, the guy has so much money. He made so much money playing. He makes so much money doing the guy was in every other Super Bowl. He probably made like $500 million from the Super Bowl commercials alone. Why is he beefing with Logan Paul? I like when somebody, this is going to be a very weird take. I don't mean to compare him to a Leonardo DiCaprio, but like when you're at that level, why do actors like a Leo, like a Denzel Washington, now Michael B. Jordan, they don't do all these interviews, right? They try to stay out of the press. It kind of keeps your mystique up. And I know, an athlete is a very different thing, but like I say about like a Kawhi Leonard, right? I kind of like that we don't know everything about Kawhi. So
Michael Jordan had that mystique more than LeBron.
100%, and I think that adds into everything that he does because, like, the aura, right? That's a real word when you're talking about greatness. Tom Brady's the greatest greatest ever. He's a killer. I love Tom Brady. I don't know why he's up on a stage beefing with Logan Paul, doing like a WWE, which is stupid, promo for like this fake flag football game in Saudi Arabia. I mean, what are we talking about?
A lot of money over there. That's why.
He has a lot of money. I'm never going to tell someone to go make less money. I'm in no place to do that.
Well, you just did, basically.
I find it.
No, but you just contradicted yourself.
What?
You said he has a lot of money. So what? Go make more money.
And he can make money. So when you're at Tom Brady's level, you can make money doing anything, right? You don't have to be beefing on a stage with Logan Paul. I just find it weird. Find it weird.
Fair.
I'm not going to. He's probably making. He'll probably make more on Saturday than I'll ever make in my entire life. But
you're with me now, so you're gonna be.
But I do find it strange, dude. Why you're the greatest football player of all time.
Let me ask you this.
Why do you need to beef with Logan Paul?
From 1 to 10, how would you rate? From 1 to 10, how would you rate the Kid Rock Super Bowl concert? Was it a concert? Is that how you say it? Concert? Is it a concert?
What?
How would you, from 1 to from 1 to 10?
I'm a Bad Bunny guy through and through, dude.
From 1 to 10.
They bring me in and they put me with the Kid Rocker freaking brigade. Dude.
Wait.
I don't need.
From 1 to 10, how would you grade Kid Rock's Super Bowl performance?
Guy still has his fastball, dude. That's all I'm gonna say. No, I don't know. Did that even have? That could be one of those things. It might have been a psyop. Like, did you see any clips from it? Well, you did. I forget who I'm talking to. I didn't see any. I was rocking out to Bad Bunny.
No, I didn't see it. That's why I was asking.
I was dancing. I was having a good time. Did you watch the
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was a lot of fun to watch. But
what was that? That was crazy.
What was crazy? Dude? It was fun to watch. That's what I'm saying. It was just a lot of fun to watch. I don't have much else to say. What was he saying? I mean, I don't know. But I was dancing. I was having a good time. Bad Bunny rules. Dude.
Are you looking forward? Are you looking forward to Floyd's return to the ring?
No, he's fighting Mike Tyson. So that's another thing. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that. Well, I'm not really glad you brought that up, but these people, it's very bizarre to me, and I get it's all about money, so like do stuff for money, but there's other stuff you can do. If you're Mike Tyson, if you're 60, if you're walking around with a cane, bro, I'm not going to comment on, his financial status currently, but really, dude, you got to go box Floyd Mayweather, and it's going to be a dumpster fire, right? The guy has a tough time moving from point A to point B, let alone punching Floyd Mayweather, who's 30 years younger than him. I find this stuff very odd. The celebrity boxing, I think, is fine to an extent, right? And, Jake Paul, I mean, he just fought Anthony Joshua, so he kind of, got stamped a little bit there. But I find all these legends coming out of retirement for one more payday. I do find it a little bit odd. And that quote from Terrence Crawford, which was completely out of context, they were having some fun. Then he's like, "Oh, now we know your character, right?" Like, because the guy was like, "For $50 million, I'd whatever that dude said." But yeah, I don't know. I understand doing anything for a paycheck, but like, it's odd. I think that relates to what I was saying with Tom Brady, right? I feel like once you're at a certain status, you almost have to respect that your status and not do dumb things for money, like not lessen yourself to that point. Now, I would. You and I could fight for $10, like that's fine. I'm saying I'm in a different status level than Tom Brady and Floyd Mayweather. I think when
you never really know how much money somebody has.
Well, I think when you freaking come out of retirement every 10 minutes, I think that's a pretty good. It kind of says how much money you have. With all due respect, I'm not. What do we got? We're gonna start winding down. But is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we get out of here? I think it was a good. It was a good debate. What else?
I'm gonna look at your text a little bit. Yeah, you. Yeah, I think we're good.
Hey, here's our.
Yeah.
What about KD Kawhi? Hey, actually one take I want to get off my chest.
I like that. I mean, P. Kawhi was obviously better than PKD.
Wrong, but something I want to get off my chest.
He never won a championship like Kawhi did with the Toronto Raptors. Nobody was as good on offense and defense as Kawhi Leonard, except for Michael Jordan at that level to carry a team to a championship. To have the bandwidth to be that good on both sides of the floor.
Wait till you find out about LeBron James. You don't think in 2012 he was better?
We're talking about KD and Kawhi. Okay, LeBron's fair.
And you're talking about Michael Jordan, so I have to counter with LeBron immediately.
Okay, no, but
dude, the version of Kevin Durant in 2019.
Let me just say, does KD have a championship like Kawhi's championship with Toronto?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
But the The version of him,
and he's doing more with less this year too. He has less of a supporting cast, and he's doing more.
Yeah, but Kawhi gets this like very long leash, right? Because he's always hurt. So it's like when he's playing bad, he doesn't get.
Well, he got 2
criticism
championships.
Huh?
That's why he gets a long lead. He got 2 championships. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
wait till
actually,
you
no,
Google
time
KD,
out,
bro.
time out. People were saying he's the worst superstar ever.
There are some people who it's not really worth. Like, I'm not going to address people
I'm
saying
just saying.
that. I love Kawhi. I've always loved Kawhi. I think he's one of the most fun guys to watch. I think his offensive development still, despite
He's a machine.
injuries,
He's a machine.
he's unbelievable. But I feel like he gets an odd pass sometimes because, like, when he's not playing well or his team's not playing well, it's like he's probably hurt. Who really cares? And again, the way he stays out of the media, it's like, you know, you could be halfway through. It's like he doesn't get the headlines that these other guys get. So then when he does pop in and he drops, 38 on crazy efficiency, you see these takes like, dude, is peak Kawhi one of the greatest players ever? If this guy stayed healthy, is he in GOAT talks? Which, I mean, maybe, honestly. But he doesn't get the same criticism, especially as a Kevin Durant. I was more critical of him than anyone.
It's because of the jump to the Warriors. That's why he doesn't get as much criticism.
Yeah, but then, like, still, like, that's just a personal move. Like, what did he do on the Warriors? The version of him in 2019, at the peak of his powers, was one of the greatest basketball players to ever step foot on a court. And the guy in 21, the Nets, was that in 20 or 21?
Yeah,
when
he
when
did
they
a lot.
lost to the
He
Bucks.
did a lot there.
That version, do you remember him and Giannis going, bro?
The only problem is after the toe on the line 3, he didn't do anything in that overtime. That was
But that's the same debate as like a LeBron game 1 in 2018, right? It's kind of hard when you drag a team all the way to the finish line and then
LeBron got 4 of them things though.
Yeah, that's why
he was always the best player on those teams,
That's why
Actually,
he's
you know what?
tier
There's a
above.
debate that Kevin.
You don't think Kevin Durant was better than Steph Curry?
I do actually.
Yeah, that
I
never
do
made
actually.
sense. Any of those like people now are able to say you could go career for career. That's a different conversation. I'd probably give the nod
I think
to Curry.
obviously Curry meant more to the Warriors than even KD, which sounds crazy, but KD is the better player to me.
Yeah, especially on those runs, dude. He was
Yeah.
averaging like more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He had a better best game and he had a better worst game. And Curry had a
But that's also Curry, sacrificing. That's part of it.
Sacrificing, like, missing shot. He's scoring 8 points so that KD could score 20. I mean, dude, you didn't have to do that, dude. Like, we could have done this a little bit easier.
All right. This was a good convo. Good session with Hes With Us. Probably a lot of clips will be flying up with me and Connor. Connor will be back soon.
I keep looking at I got to look at the camera, dude. I've been looking at the TV the entire time, dude. Fuck.
I've been looking at you, so I should have been looking at the camera.
Good for you. Lucky guy. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
My guy.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.